Alright, good morning and welcome. It is a while since I have done a video like this, so this is a bit of an update on this, my BMW i3. Just tried to record this a minute ago, so apologies if you joined that one because the orientation was all wrong. So my name's Grant Thomas. I've been doing these videos now for 5 years, and it's actually 5 years ago this week since I took delivery of my first electric car. That was way back in August 2012, and one of the first few hundred electric cars in the UK. A 2012 Nissan Leaf. I had that for 3 years. What did we do? I can't remember now. 30,000, 40,000 miles. That was my first electric company car. So what kind of attracted me to it was having solar panels on the roof about 6 months before I took that car, and also the zero benefit in kind company car tax. But kind of opened the door to what is possible. And ever since that test drive and then taking delivery of the car, I've kind of been sold on electric cars, their usability, their usefulness, and just how much better than driving a combustion engine is. Fast forward now, 1st of September 2017, this is my 5th electric car, not because I've been writing them off, but because some of them have been leased, some of them are company car leases, and this one I actually bought in January this year. This is the 2015 BMW i3 range extender. It does have a few optional extras. This has the upgraded turbine wheels, this has the business satellite navigation entertainment package with it, and what can I say? In summary, this is the best electric car you can buy this side of a Tesla. And let me put that in a little more context. I mean, first of all, brand new, the BMW i3 is an expensive car. I bought this 18 months old. I paid just over £17,000 for this in January. It came with a 3-year warranty, the remainder of the 3-year warranty, and a 5-year service pack. So there is no servicing on this until 2020. But in reality, that's just every 2 years. They plug it in, check the recs. And I've had very few problems. In fact, I've been looking for problems because I've invested so much of my time and money in this car. So there was a funny little knock I thought I heard from the front left, and it will stick with me when I took the car down to Snow's BMW and went out with the BMW i3 technician, and he looked at me as if I was mad because the knock is so slight and you only hear it because the car is so well built. So that is literally the only thing I have found that actually isn't a problem, because when I was given the courtesy car, the i3, that does it as well. It's actually something in the suspension system. So this is a brilliantly made, and I will do a proper video on this, I promise. I've been saying it for months, but frankly, I've had the same job at IBM, a slightly different role, and also I've been running a brewery for the past 2 years that I'm just in the process of selling. So I'm finally getting some more time back to give back to doing some of these videos. Having had 2 Nissan Leafs, so let's just quickly summarize on the, if you like, the electric car history. The 2012 Nissan Leaf went back in July 2015. We then took the Mitsubishi Outlander GX, the plug-in hybrid, the GX4H version. We had that for 2 years. That did 30,000 miles, I think 40,000 miles before we sent it back. A great car, the Mitsubishi Outlander, but big, huge. Really, I got that for Jo after she tolerated 3 years of a Nissan Leaf Mark 1. The Mark 1 Nissan Leaf was kind of a point of time. It was a tricky car. It had a very short range in the winter because it had an inductive heater. So, you know, if you're driving that car in a cold, wet, humid day with the heaters on, you'll probably get 45 miles out of a Mark 1 Leaf. That substantially improved in the Mark 2. So yeah, we had the Outlander for 2 years, and the Outlander went back in July and replaced that with a Volkswagen Golf GTE Advanced, which is the Mark 7.5, the model refresh. So that's the one, the new, I'll do a video review on that. It's got the completely LCD dashboard, so you can actually configure that to whatever mode you want. The one, it's come direct off the Audi basically, but it's a really, really, really smart display. I mean, the one on this car is absolutely brilliant. You've just got it split over 2 iPad screens. So that's the kind of car history on the company car side. Now in 2015 as well, I got rid of our internal combustion engine car and took a personal lease of a 2015 Nissan Leaf Techna. So for a while we actually had 2 Nissan Leafs. So it was great to be able to compare both cars. And the current generation, and that was the 24 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf. So the current shape, as this is being recorded on the 1st of September, they've basically upgraded the battery, and that's now up to a 30 kilowatt. It's a great car. The Tecna, the Nissan Leaf Tecna, is a great car. And if you're looking to make that first jump into electric vehicles, or you just want a cheap car as your second car, then there are lease deals going around well under £200 a month on that, and you can't put a foot wrong. Just whenever you get a Leaf, make sure you get the 6.6 charger. I've been saying it ever since I took delivery of that one in 2015. You just get all the flexibility of a rapid charge. Now, let's get back to this car. I bought this car in January. I bought it for a bit of business use with the brewery. Yes, you can fit 50 boxes of bottles in the back of this. You can fit 2 casks of beer in the back of this. But I'm obviously going to keep that way beyond the use of the brewery, because I'm going to be using it as a personal commute car as well. I will do a proper video on this, but this car is built better than any other electric car I've mentioned in this video so far. It is built underneath of aluminium that cannot rust. The entire life cell that BMW call it, that I'm sitting in, is built of carbon reinforced plastic, so it will never rust. It is 300 kilograms lighter than the Leaf, and it is technically possible to upgrade the battery, and I will come back to that point in a minute. It charges quicker than the Nissan Leaf at 7.4 kilowatts, and plugged into either of the chargers at home, it can recharge this car typically in under 3 hours. It also means that if you stop, like I'm doing this morning, I'm doing a bit of grocery shopping, was working late US hours last night, so I'm going up to the local Sainsbury's here in Waterlooville. They've got 4 7 kilowatt chargers, so in an hour this will easily put on 30 miles worth of electric charge. So it's great for those kinds of destination stopovers, those charging moments. So this is lighter than the Nissan Leaf. This is significantly faster to drive than the Nissan Leaf. It is rear-wheel drive, so you get a much better or more traditional BMW driving experience. The level of kit inside this is impressive, and there are some really nice touches to it. So just to finish the sustainability point, 30% of this interior is made up of recycled bottle tops and the like, so it's built far more sustainably. And the carbon fiber is built in a factory powered by hydroelectric. It is put together and built in a factory in Germany powered by wind turbines. So the sustainability is right. The fact that it never rusts means it's the right kind of approach. You could buy this car and technically you could just upgrade the components inside of it. Now, I really can't put find a fault with this car. I love how it drives. I love how it feels. I think it's a far more built from the ground up electric car. I also like its styling. Now, the stylings have been a bit Marmite. There are members of my family, there are many on who comment on this, that it looks a bit weird. It looks a bit different, and yeah, that's the part I like, I guess, because a lot of the other cars, like the Nissan Leaf, they were designed to make them look like ordinary cars. They had a fake transmission tunnel, but it didn't need the transmission tunnel. So I always thought that those were kind of compromises. It's something that we do so well in the UK. We design houses to look like something that was made 200 years ago. Well, this car is a breath of fresh air. This just gives a glimpse into the future of what is possible if you start with a blank piece of paper and an open mind. You can actually build electric cars like this. Now, it is disappointing that BMW have ditched the i5 program and that they are going to focus on only improving incrementally the range of their current cars, like the 3 Series and the 5 Series. And that's disappointing because this is not a plug-in hybrid, even though this one has an engine. So this is, like I said earlier, 2015 BMW i3 range extender. Even though this does have an engine in the back of it on the right hand side, that engine never ever ever drives the wheels. It is a generator that when the battery drops below 75%, you can press the button here and you can save the battery. Now, why would you do that? Well, you might want to do that if you're traveling into a city centre, and we will see the legislation coming up here in many cities around the world and here in the UK. If you're driving into a city centre, they will become zero emission zones. So you could save the battery for when you're driving along the motorway knowing that at the end of your journey it will be zero emission when you're driving around a city or an urban space. Equally so, the battery, the Rex will charge the battery when it drops below 5%. So if you do just keep driving it, when it gets below 5%, the range extender will kick in and provide the extra power when you need it. Now, if you then end up at the traffic lights and are pootling round, it will actually, roll back onto pure electric mode. Now, what that means is that now I actually drive this car for more electric miles than I ever did driving the Nissan Leaf. Now, explain that a bit. I mean, because I've got that security blanket, I can drive this car and wait until the battery is virtually exhausted, knowing that I'm never going to get stranded. And in fact, that has changed how I charge this car. So I now charge this car fully once a week when I go to the office, and they've now got 7 charging points at Lakeside IBM. So I'm able to plug in this car, fully charge it once a week, and then maybe on a Friday or Saturday when I've been driving the car for a few more days, I might give it half a charge at home. I'm not plugging this car in, and it's amazing now when I go to the office and talk to other electric car drivers, cars like the Golf GTE that only have a 20-mile electric range, people are obsessing. I've got to plug it in. I need to I'm out of charge. I need to plug it in. They just don't have the flexibility of cars like this. Now, this 2015 model, which is the 60 amp hour battery model, is how BMW call it. In reality, that's a 22 kilowatt hour battery pack. This will do about 85 miles, and I think that's about the longest journey I've had out of it, on electric only. The range extender will then kick in and keep the car going for a further 70 or 80 miles. Now, let me give you my experiences. When I bought this car in January, I think it had half a tank of fuel. I topped it up. Now, I think I used it once when I did a longer journey, and then once when I was waiting to charge the car the next day and found I had to do a journey that evening, I was able to just go and drive the car in the range extender mode. But I actually got the warnings on the car that said, look, you've not started this engine in a long time. You need to start this for maintenance mode. The car doesn't like not using the engine for extended periods. And when I say extended periods, it's something like 2 or 3 months. If you haven't used the engine in that time, it says, look, just start that up, stop the thing condensing, and all that kind of stuff. So I actually ended up going on a long journey in July and thought, right, I'm going to just burn this fuel because I've had this fuel in here for 6 months. So in July, I replaced that 9 litres with another 9 litres, and I think it was, I can't remember, £10, £11, maybe that. But in reality, I've only filled the Rex engine or the Rex petrol tank once in 6 months. So I'm going to estimate that my fuel cost for this car per year is something like £10, maybe 20 if I need to do a longer trip. The reality is I drive this car 95% on electric, and I do more electric miles because I've got the confidence of doing longer journeys knowing that you're not going to get stranded somewhere. And a good real example of that now, there are more and more, and I forget what the figure is now, there are thousands of rapid charge points around this country now, but there are also many, many more electric cars, and I'm seeing many more on the road. Now, where that becomes a challenge is, I guess if you're pulling up at a petrol station, or I should say a motorway service station which has got a rapid charger, well, you could find yourself having to wait to get that rapid charge. Also, rapid charging you're having to pay for now. So it's now about £6, or they've now changed the charging somehow. But Ecotricity, that run the rapid chargers at the motorway service stations, they're charging you now for charging, which I never had a problem with. I don't expect to get free electric and free journeys. But you've also got more electric cars on the road. So if you're trying to get to, let me give you an example, a wedding in Oxford, and you've got an hour and a half, 2 hours drive to get there. If you needed to have a charge and you wanted to build that into your journey, you're going to need to stop for half an hour. Now, if you turn up to that rapid charger and someone's already there, depending on whether that's a Nissan Leaf or a Tesla, you could have to wait. And if there's 2 or 3 electric cars, you might have to wait for a couple of hours to get that charge. So what I really like about this car is that you can choose. If you are relying on a charger, and right now I'm currently at 37% charge, I'm doing some grocery shopping this morning, I'll get a usable charge whilst I go and do some grocery shopping. But equally so, if that charger was out, well, I'm not going to run out of electric here, or if I was low, I've got a fuel tank and a generator that's going to get me to my destination. I'm not reliant on public charging. So I think public charging stability has come a long way, but we're still in a bit of, we're still on a point in time where we're looking for more rapid and fast charging points to be deployed, and there are many more cars coming on the road. So yeah, really, after 9 months, I can thoroughly recommend a BMW i3. Now, I have left the kind of major issue that I have until last, and it's not with the car, it's with BMW. You see, I could today drive this car into BMW and have the battery, the 60 amp hour battery pack, swapped out for the higher capacity 90 amp hour battery pack. So I could instantly go from 22 to 33 kilowatts hours. It is entirely technically possible. In fact, this year BMW in the States have taken a few of this model car, the 2015, and swapped out the battery pack for the longer range because they had some leftover stock. So this car is the perfect sustainable electric car because it is ultimately upgradable. The way that they have designed the motor, the way it sits over the back axle, that could be swapped out. The range extender, it pretty much slots into the right hand side slot on the right hand side of the axle. The battery pack is completely removable and can be upgraded to the larger battery pack. BMW are not letting you do that. I think you can have it done in Germany, but in every other country they are not allowing you to pay to upgrade the battery pack. I've spoken to the local BMW dealer. It is listed as a part number, but it's something that BMW will not support. And the only reason they won't do it, and they've not confirmed this, but this is my read and general discussion, the only reason they have done that is because BMW's market position is measured in new car sales. So if everyone goes and buys one of these cars and then just constantly replaces the bits that go wrong, this is a car that's never going to rust. It's a car that's modularly built so you can replace the bits that go wrong. Essentially, you could be driving this car in 20 years with a battery pack that's 4 times the range of the one that's on this car. But BMW, a marketing decision, do not want you to upgrade this car. And I think that is morally questionable. It is infinitely frustratable because you have got here a perfect solution for mobility. A car that can be ultimately be recycled, that's never going to rust, and that can you just replace the bits on it that need replacing. So I really, really, really hope that BMW, after going to such huge lengths to create this car, to build it in a way that is sustainable from its construction, that is not going to rust. We're at one of those pivotal moments with this car where you've got something which is designed way ahead of its time. This car is from a different era. It doesn't look like or drive like or feel like or is built like anything else on the road. And it is massively frustrating that I can't drive into BMW and replace this with a better battery. Now, this has only done 27,000 miles. I'm not sure that I would replace the battery right now, but we have seen this week BMW have just announced the new 2018 model refresh. There's a BMW i3 and an i3S coming along, but they've not increased the battery pack. But there are rumours that, like this particular model of car, that new battery pack came along mid-cycle, so it came along halfway through the current lifespan of this model. Well, so we're hoping that sort of 2019 we might finally see 120 or 130 amp hour battery pack. Imagine being able to drive this car for 5 years, then take it to BMW, say, yeah, I'm happy with the, let's call it a £4,000 upgrade. But at that point, after 50, 60, 80,000 miles, it might be, a great time to swap out the battery pack, because the 90 amp hour battery pack, or the 33 kilowatt hour battery pack, compared to the one on this car, 60 amp hour, 22 kilowatts, is the same physical dimensions. BMW have only increased the range or increased the capacity of that pack because of the energy density of the lithium ion batteries that go into it. So as battery technology improves, then yeah, why can't we have the ability to put these kind of battery packs under the car? So I do hope that BMW see the light. And I hope that it's not just a marketing decision, because BMW would love me to drive this car in, swap it out for the 2018 model, have a new car sale, and then this one goes to be somebody else. They maintain a strong market position. They can, you know, claim the successes of the BMW i3. But that's not the case at the moment. But that is the only fly in the ointment. Now, in the case of full transparency, when I first got this car, there were one thing that wasn't working actually. There was a problem with one of the chargers. Now, the guy I bought it from was completely mortified. He got home, plugged it in, it charged perfectly overnight, he drove it to work. Only when I started saying, why is it taking so long to charge, actually transpires that this particular, that a BMW i3 has two 3.7 kilowatt chargers in it. So one of them was working fine, but the other one, the KLE, wasn't. So under warranty, went in, 24 hours later, the car was fixed, KLE charger replaced, it now charges at 7.4. I'm not sure whether this is still live streaming. I hope it's been of use to you. It's telling me it's poor connection at the moment. I will do a proper review on this car, and I will respond to the comments that have come in. Apologies again that it's been such a delay on the reviews recently. Like I said at the top, I've had a couple of jobs. One of those is going away and should allow me some more time. I will do a proper review on the Golf GTE, which is a fabulous car to drive, just a stupid small electric range, and I will do a full review on this. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.